Welcome to This Week in AT. This Week in AT, March 31st, 2025. EHR security. Are you protecting your data as much as you think? Patient privacy and rights are always an essential topic that has to be top of mind for medical practitioners. It is a top priority at hospitals and clinics and should be when you look at athletic training and the multiple varieties of clinical sites that we operate in. Unfortunately, it may not always be a top priority for the profession, and things can potentially get a little too relaxed when sharing information. This post was influenced by a recent story of a former college football coach at the University of Michigan who accessed personal accounts of athletes. There's thought that he may have gained access to the sensitive data by attaining access to the electronic health record system and therefore being able to get information to then access personal social media and other accounts. For more reading on the story, please check out the links below or in the podcast description. We aren't going to dive into the specifics of the case, but I did think this was an opportunity to highlight some considerations that we must take into account as a profession to practice at the highest level of patient privacy. I will attempt to get a little technical at the end, but I wanted to focus on some low-hanging fruit that could be implemented to help ensure security. What is a fax? Fax machines, in my opinion, exist for only one reason in my life, and that's transferring medical information. While it seems slow and old school, it is one of the only secure ways to share sensitive data. Emails between institutions, not often are they secure from end to end. It may not seem like much, but the story above demonstrates that someone could be looking for the data, however unlikely. How do you distribute information? How do you send injury reports out to coaches, staff, etc.? Is it secure? I think it would be advantageous to check with your IT department and see if emails within your organization are considered secure, being on the internal network, or if there are potential issues in sending an Excel file with an injury report. Again, a small thing, but if it becomes a problem, it will be a huge problem. Are you getting consent to release the information outside of the previously signed waivers? It can seem simple to pass along information, but do you have clearance to do it? Is the person you are releasing it to part of the agreed upon waiver, or do you need an updated release? Take the extra time, get everything signed that needs to be. What is HIPAA, FERPA, and the security for software? This took some research, and while I had heard of HIPAA and FERPA compliant record systems, and that is something you should look for, I can't say that I ever truly understood what it was. Here's what I learned. To be HIPAA compliant, software must, 1, ensure data security through encryption, private health information at rest and transit, implement access controls, role-based access, multi-factor authentication, and provide audit logs and monitoring for unauthorized access. 2, administrative safeguards. Require business associate agreements with any third-party vendors, train employees on HIPAA compliance, and implement policies for risk assessment and breach response. Physical safeguards. Secure data centers and physical servers, if those apply, and restrict physical access to hardware storing personal health and private health information. 4, technical safeguards. Implement automatic session timeouts, use secure authentication and unique user identification, ensure data integrity controls to prevent unauthorized modification. 5, breach notification rule compliance. Have a process to notify affected parties in case of a data breach. Things that can be implemented to help maintain HIPAA compliance. As we mentioned, the technical safeguards, data encryption, so encrypt health and student records at rest and in transit. Again, the access of controls, everything that we had mentioned above, but making sure that you're utilizing the two-factor authentication, unique user identification for tracking access, i.e., don't use the same login for multiple people. The audit logging and monitoring, track who is accessing records and when, set up real-time alerts for unauthorized access attempts, automatic session timeouts, fairly self-explanatory, and secure data transmission for transferring all records back to our original thing about potentially sharing injury reports. And then data integrity controls prevent unauthorized changes to health and academic records. 2, the administrative standards, policies, and training. Define when student health records can be shared with parents, medical professionals, school officials. This can vary wildly depending what level of sport you're working at and the age of the patient, and ensure proper student or parental consent before sharing private health information. The business associates agreement, making sure if any third-party members need to store or process health data, they are within compliance. The training of all people within your organization on HIPAA and FERPA, and the risk assessment and breach response. The physical safeguards, storing things on a compliant cloud environments. Examples would be AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud with compliant certifications. Use backup and disaster recovery solutions. Restricted physical access. Limit access to on-premise servers storing those health records. Implement badge-based access for IT and healthcare staff. Secure school-owned computers and mobile devices with these EHR systems and require encryption on portable devices. What about additional steps? While HIPAA is a legal requirement for handling protected health information, other types of security are not legally required but may be industry best practices. Looking for an electronic health record system that is SOC 2 compliant, which is achieved by hitting several similar standards as above, but going through annual audits can boost security and relieve many concerns. Not every electronic health record achieves SOC 2 compliance, as it is a best practice and not a legal requirement, but it may be worth looking into. It does require an investment from the EHR to maintain this, so if it is important enough to invest in it, that's obviously a good step. Personal experience. As I'm guessing many do, you can take your EHR for granted and assume everything is what it should be. I've learned in my past experience that EHRs we use weren't able to satisfy our campus/state system IT requirements due to a lack of two-factor authentication and therefore did not qualify for use. Obviously not complying with HIPAA completely as well. This brought frustration, but in hindsight, it was probably for the best thing for everyone involved. I oftentimes struggle to get staff members to understand that you had to fax items with personal and protected health information on it. You couldn't just email it to our physician with the protected information, and it seems like not a big deal, but it makes it very difficult for our profession to continue to push forward with gaining respect as medical providers when we can't even follow these simple steps to keep information secure. Subtle, but important. This part of the job is not the most fun, but it is necessary, and working on it early can help save you an immense headache in the future, should the unthinkable happen. It may have just occurred. Don't be the next one. This week in AT. Check out the link to the Substack if you would prefer to have this in text or just to check it out, and click on the actual links there. Link is in the description. Appreciate you listening, and we'll catch you next week. Tune in next week to get the happenings in AT with This Week in AT.